back to our YouTube channel. Today I'll guide you through how to remove duplicates using MySQL. So there are two ways. One where we can only query our data and find out the duplicates. Then we can just take out the first occurrences of our duplicates and then export it to Excel. Second thing is removing the duplicates from the servers or the databases itself. So let me show you how to do both of them one by one. Now let's take an example. Let's create a dummy data set to take an example and do this thing. So I'll create a dummy database and use it. In this, I'll create a table, and while inserting the values in this table, I'll insert the values twice instead of once so that we can have an exact duplicate row of same thing. So I'll run this query twice, and when we look into our data, we can see that for one row there is two occurrences, exactly two occurrences. So here we have duplicates of the same row. Now what we can do is, even if there is not only two duplicates, there are 3 to 4 duplicates, what we can do is, if we want to just export our data to any other tool like Excel or anything else, then we can just query our data, read the data or the table without the duplicates and export it. How do we do that? We can do that using row numbers, which is a part of Windows function. So we'll write select all the columns, which is star, then we'll write row number and over partition by my material IDs. Material ID is the column which is there in my table. So if I write that, what I'm getting is a table which wherever the material ID is same, I am getting two different row numbers. So the first occurrences is getting row number 1 and the second occurrence of the same material ID is getting row number 2. I'm repeating again. First occurrence of the material ID 1 is getting row number 1 and second occurrence of the material ID 1 is getting row number 2. So if we want to filter out only the material IDs for row number 1, because at every occurrences you can see the first occurrence is getting row number 1 and the second occurrence is getting row number 2. So if we can filter out only the row number 1s, then we can have the data without the duplicates. How would we do that? We will put this query in a CTE. Suppose I'll name it as C, and then in my outer query I'll write that I want only the rows where my row number is greater than, not greater than, less than 2. So I'll write from C, which is my this table, which I have just shown to you. And then I'll write where I need to give an alias name so that I can use it over here. And I'll write where RN is less than 2. So here I'll get only the first occurrences of all the material IDs. Now if I export this, I can export this table into Excel and I'll have duplicate-free data. But this is not changing my original raw data. The data in my servers still have duplicates. If I run this again, you can see I still have duplicates. So what if I want to remove the duplicates from my database itself? I want to remove exact duplicate rows from my database itself. Then how would we do that? This is not possible using this query itself, because if we see, we are getting material IDs in return. So if we use this, all the rows will get deleted. So what we can do instead is, first we'll have to add one extra column which has IDs which is different from the main material ID. So the same material IDs like material ID 1 and material ID 1 should get two different IDs. So if I run this, what this is doing is, it is creating one big integer column which is having values of unsigned. Unsigned means free of plus minus signs. This should not be null. It will not ignore any row of my data, and it will auto increment at each and every row. So if I go back to my data and see what has happened, I can see for the same material IDs, if I order this data, for the same material IDs, I'm getting two different duplicate IDs. So now what we can do is, we can remove the second duplicate ID, which is obviously greater than the first duplicate ID. So we'll remove the higher duplicate IDs and keep the lower duplicate IDs for the same material IDs. Now, how would we do that? For that, first we need to figure out what is the duplicate IDs. So first what we'll do is, we'll do the same thing, select, we'll use Windows function, we'll then figure out the higher duplicate IDs for the same material IDs. How would we do that? We'll again write duplicate ID, then row number, and then partition our data using the material IDs. Partition by material ID, and then order by my duplicate IDs. This is not needed, but it's better to write it so that you can understand what you're doing. And I'll name it as RN again and write the table name. Now see, what we are getting here is, if you remember, there was, let me just for the purpose of showing you what is happening, and let me also write material ID here for once so that you can understand what's happening. See, over here, material ID 1 is coming twice. It is getting two different duplicate IDs. But here, the numbers are very odd. So I cannot identify which duplicate IDs exactly are the duplicates. So here 1 and 6 is there. Here 2 and 7 is there. So IDs are not in chronological orders. So I cannot write a straight query for identifying the second occurrences of the same material ID. So in order to make it simpler, we are adding a row number so that first material ID, first duplicate ID is getting row number 1, and second occurrence of duplicate ID is getting row number 2. Now from here, we will filter out only the second occurrence, because we want to delete the second occurrence. We don't want the first occurrence. We want to delete the second occurrence. Earlier in my example, I wanted only the first occurrences. I was not deleting. That's why I wrote first occurrences. Here we want to delete the second occurrences, so we need the second occurrences. So how would we do that? Now I'll put this in a new select statement and put this data in a from statement, this table in a from statement. So the table which I have just shown you, I'll remove material ID because we don't need that. So we'll use this table which we just created in a new query as a subquery. Now from here, I'll extract the duplicate IDs where the RN number, I need to give an alias name. Whenever we are using a subquery, we need to give an alias name. So I'll write now where RN is equals to 2 or greater than 1. If there are more than 1 duplicates, then we can filter those out as well. So I am telling where RN is greater than 1. So what we'll get now is, we'll get all the second occurrences of the material IDs. So I've got these duplicate IDs. I need to remove wherever the duplicate ID is coming in this particular set. So simply what I'll do is, now I'll again wrap this around the new query. I'll write delete from material where my duplicate IDs are in this, which I just shown you, the table which I just shown you, which had the second occurrences of the duplicate IDs. This portion is giving me that. From here, I am telling wherever the duplicate ID is in this set of duplicate IDs, delete those IDs from my main material table. So if I run this now and go back to, this has deleted. This is not giving me any result because this has just deleted. This query is for deleting. So it will not give me any result. So in order to check whether the duplicates have been removed or not, I can go back and I can run this query. Now I'm seeing only the first occurrences is left and the second occurrences of the same material ID has gone away. So this was two approach to delete the duplicates from using SQL. First one was just querying our data and exporting the duplicate free data to any other tool. And second one was removing the duplicate from the databases, my servers itself. I hope you enjoyed this video and you liked this data cleaning video. For more such videos, stay tuned and follow our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Bye guys.